really doing it. Look. Yeah, you know I'm all about my business and my winnings. Got a team full of demons rain on some bitch shit. Yeah.
Welcome to another Three Aficionados. That's the new single from Sukasa. Just killing it on the record. We're going to talk about all things analog and maybe cats, but mostly cars, watches, and cars with watches and cats. Taking shits on cats.
Oh yeah, get that furry cat over here. Let's give it a pet.
We're going to talk all about a little bit of watch news, mostly Peter's new acquisition, the new M2 that makes me want to vomit a little bit, and the new Longines, and maybe something else that's a little bit sparkly and racy, and perhaps something that might be deposited on. And it isn't a cat, it's a car. With that, let's pop it off. What are we popping?
Yeah.
I'm popping real alcohol this time.
Oh, what? Here we go.
It's the alcohol you got me. And hopefully it doesn't leak all over my brand new laptop.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It doesn't fit the virtual blur, but it does look like
yeah.
it's pour out. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, gents.
Cheers. Let's see how that. Oh, yep. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to pour it like that. I got to dump it like this.
We got the liquid gold. I don't have a large enough pint glass.
Nice job.
Oh, I was wrong. I should have had faith.
Good looking Guinness there.
Should have poured it in a horn.
Oh, I should have used my horn.
Well,
barely pouring.
I rarely think about using my horn.
Oh yes, the horn. You should bring it back.
When you do, you always make it pointy. It's
right. When I do, I make it work.
Yeah.
Next time, I'll try and remember the horn.
I'll remember the lube.
You ready to consume these beers now, Steve? There.
Well, your fucking can of Guinness you left me here is just a little constipated here.
Take it along.
Don't worry.
Every drop here.
Hear that.
Every
well,
drop.
We know what the two of us are drinking. What's that you got there, Peter?
It's Hoyne Brewing Co. It's called the Hoyne Pilsner. It's actually pretty good. I don't know exactly where it came from, but yeah, I think it came from I think it was maybe Co-op liquor store or something. I can't remember, but yeah,
it's in the back of your fridge.
Probably no. This was a recent purchase, but I believe it's most probably a place locally. I could guess. I didn't read about it or anything like that. Oh, Victoria, there we go, Victoria, BC.
The can looks like the stuff that my wife makes me clean out of the back of the fridge. Left shit. It's so like green and moldy.
Yeah, it almost kind of looks moldy looking. It's like it's leaves, but I mean on the camera it doesn't really look. It kind of looks like moldy and vomity kind of thing. But
got some moldy leaves.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Moldy leaves, boys.
Yeah, cheers.
Moldy leaves.
Yeah, good to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you
guys.
guys.
I'm blowing my wrist off to a little bit of moldy leaves. Dana pulls out a big horn.
Well, I mean, on the subject of that, why don't we blow our wrists off here a little
bit? What is blowing and
your wrist? You want me to go first here?
Of course.
Yeah,
Peter, go
Peter's got to make the big reveal after you.
All right, perfect. I'm going to talk for a really long time. Build up a lot of
lose all the audience.
Right. That's perfect. I got my Victorinox dive watch on, which I love very much. I wear it quite often, and if you're a regular listener or viewer, you'll know that I have been wearing this almost exclusively all summer, except for on a few occasions. And while it's quite utilitarian in some ways, there's also a lot of beautiful little details that really enhance the quality of this watch. From its applied markers. Obviously, the dial is applied.
That's bullshit. They applied that dial?
Yo, who applied this dial? How did the dial get here? It was applied. And it's got that cool, like, not mirror finish, but it's got this highly reflective finish from certain angles, and then it's got a matte finish from other angles. That's quite neat, and that's just a beautifully done watch. So I been rocking it quite a lot. Yeah, I love it.
I like the sound of the jangling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's just the microphone. This is
I like it.
This is quality jingle jangle.
Yeah, it's like a gun jangling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like a gun jangle. Clack clack.
Click,
But
clack.
I mean,
Like
I
when I wear
can't
my
decide.
gun around my neck. Jingle jangle.
So I haven't cracked out my SKX yet for this show, but I think I have two dive watches in my collection. This one and the Seiko, and I can't pick either one of them as being a preferred one over the other because they're not comparable at all. You know, like one has got the classic and certified sorry classic certified dive everything
Classic
on that.
certified bong hits by
And
Daniel.
it's a mechanical right, it's the automatic movement, and this is a quartz movement, but the build quality on the casing and on the strap and on everything else is just like dialed up to 11. So they're yes, they're both dive watches, but this one feels like you're wearing a gun. The other one feels more just like a classic old school retro dive watch. Yeah.
I'm gonna shut up and just let the loom come through the podcast.
Is that how it works now with audio?
Can you can you see the loom in your ears? Is it coming through? Can you see it?
Listen for this visual.
Can you see the loom? Are you seeing it?
No, and I can't hear it either.
I've turned off all the lights.
All right, why don't you bong rip it and then give us an explanation?
Well, what if I just slowly dial the light in? Can you hear it coming through?
Now I feel like I'm watching a really scary movie of some sort.
Can you hear the bezel click clacking? Clickety clack.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Bi-directional. What am I wearing? And it's also got the ooh, yeah.
Is that synonymous with bi-curious?
It's definitely my strap-on again. It's it's the FXD Tudor.
Oh yeah, baby.
Third watch of the day I'm wearing. But this is the one I gotta wear around the house because I just enjoy it. It's such a good daily driver.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really love it. This FXD with the newest acquisition, the Tudor Marine Nationale, is just such a hit for me. Peter and I were at the racetrack this weekend, and I was double sporting. I was wearing the Paul Newman on the rubber strap on the left wrist, and on the right wrist, everyone was looking at me like I was an idiot, except for like the watch guys, and they probably didn't even appreciate that this was a Marine Nationale. They thought this was a new Pelagos 39, but no, it is a Marine Nationale.
What do they know anyways, right?
They know. They know their shit. They're great. They were actually really cool guys. They were driving a Corvette ZR1. And they actually want to come on the show, so don't shit on them.
My God. Oh my God, I love them. They're the best. All right.
Daniel does not
That's
represent
what we
the show
want
anymore.
And we did the unboxing on that last week, right?
Well, I attempted to do the unboxing, but I feel like Peter should upstage me with appropriate unboxing where he can actually tell where the fuck the camera is.
Yeah, like last week was good when we saw half of the unboxing. But
you know what? You can look at half of my unbox.
We'll get to see all of it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
While I take my jacket off and look like I'm stripping in the dark.
Totally, yeah. And don't try and show us the loom on audio, Peter. Maybe describing it better.
Can't you appreciate the loom? The bezel lighting up?
Listen to that loom.
Oh yeah.
It's buzzing. It's
Sounds
so
so
bright.
good. It's bright. All right, let's shut the fuck up. Peter,
Yeah,
show us your shit.
Peter. Let's go, Peter.
Already,
Show us your box.
I don't got anything on
What's in
the
the
wrist
box?
because
What's in
it's
the
in the
box?
Oh,
I'll pop it off with. Hopefully, I won't toss this thing anywhere. But so it came with a NATO strap on it, but from a few people and research I did, the factory NATO strap was not extremely amazing. So I ordered another factory strap. And
What
thought
is
I
it
would,
though, Peter? You got to tell us for the
What
audio, the visually
the-
impaired.
Okay, yes, for the visually impaired, I'm currently unboxing and just pulling off it's called the Boulder Field Medic, and this is basically the way to describe it would be like a Pelican case or like like one of those like gun pistol kind of lock boxes that you see. It's kind of cool, and yeah, I'll open it for anyone who's watching here, and hopefully I don't.
oh, but I thought you needed like an acetylene torch or something to open that case. Damn, that's some intense shit.
It is really cool. I
Okay,
think it's
so
my favorite watch box.
looking
Yeah.
at the video here.
Oh
here it
man.
is.
Nice.
And yeah, for anyone listening, it's white dial Boulder Field Medic. It's kind of cool. It almost looks kind of like Panda. But I replaced it with this rubber strap, and I think it looks a lot better. I just found the NATO look disproportioned. It is a little bit of a smaller watch, and the NATO made it really look like a small watch. Like the NATO was just really large. So this kind of fits it a little bit better. On the back, it's kind of cool. It's got like the the Star of Life, which is kind of neat. And yeah, it's really cool. You can't really see too well on the camera, but it's got like respirations and pulsations on it.
But
And
you gotta
it is
let the loom come right through the ears here.
the
Because that's the
loom.
best part of it.
It is super
I want to see
loomy.
you try to do it, Loomy.
Okay, I gotta
Open it up.
turn up. Wait, give me 1 second.
Oh, thank God, Peter's wearing pants.
That's a
Yeah,
nice watch. That's a really
It's
cool
not
watch.
it's not even really loomy right now is the issue. I
Yeah.
feel like it's because I just pulled it out of the box, so like it's not gonna.
Oh
Here,
no, it's had no light on it.
I got this.
Yeah, put that light on it.
So while Peter's
There
shining
we go.
on himself. Yeah, oh there we go.
Slowly
Yeah, that's
coming
better,
to
Loom. So the whole dial is Loom, right?
Yeah, so the whole dial is a loom, which is really cool. The like the 24-hour, and then as well as the chronograph counter there aren't loom. So like there we go. You can see a little bit better for anyone watching. But basically the whole dial's loom. Like if you were trying to use the chronograph at night, probably wouldn't be the most efficient thing in the world. But either way, you can read it really, really efficiently. So yeah, anyone watching, sorry, 1 sec, I gotta turn the light back on.
And
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was quite happy with it. I'll throw it on the wrist just so you guys can get a.
anyone watching who has been so fortunate to see Peter's crotch for the third time on this show, just kiss.
There you go.
The Loom sound.
Mamma mia!
Okay, here you go.
What a show!
It looks great, man. Congrats.
Yeah, be happy with it. I honestly when I first unboxed it, I was like, oh, I think it's a little bit small, but I don't really find it looks that small on my wrist. It's I think it's purpose built for what it is. Like I find it small enough for like I don't hit anything when I like move my wrist around, which is kind of nice. So, and I don't know if I don't know. Okay, let's see where I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's not as crispy as the Daytona is, but it's got a little bit of a nice.
Oh yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah,
maybe on the wrong side, but
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. It's a cool watch. I've had it on for most of the day. It felt pretty weird at first just because the rubber kind of needed to be broken in, but I really like the rubber strap. It almost kind of reminds me of like a Panerai strap for anyone who's not watching. It's got kind of the sides similar to it, and almost the buckle kind of looks quite similar to it as well. But it's cool. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's interesting. I was gonna pull out, and then maybe I'll wear it for one of the next podcast. But my first ever watch I bought myself was like a Bulova chronograph, and like it was like probably plated rose gold kind of thing. I may not even be plated. It may just be like painted or whatever, not painted, but dyed or whatever it was. But yeah, that was the very first watch I ever kind of bought myself. That kind of got me into watches. And yeah, I haven't had a chronograph since then, so this will be kind of cool. It'll be fun to wear over the next couple of days, and I'm gonna wear it to work tomorrow and see how I like it. I do like the feel of the NATO better, but I think this is just much more useful for what I wanted it because I mean, it may get a little bit sweaty, but at least I can just wipe it with a disinfectant wipe and not have to worry about it, just because the NATO, like, you get anything on it, any form of liquid, and it would be quite gross. So especially yeah, you could probably picture I work as a EMT, so it's kind of could be get a little nasty sometimes. So
semen. Peter's describing semen
exactly.
on his NATO.
There's semen, there's blood, there. We'll leave it there.
It all lights up. On the
There's a
loom.
lot we could be.
The loom is a black light, actually. So it's a fucking crime
good
scene on
check.
Peter's wrist.
Oh man, it could be dangerous to be checking yourself for stains.
Oh god.
What size is the case? It's pretty. It's a nice size. It doesn't
I think
look massive on your wrist.
it's 38 or 37, so
Nice.
it is kind of like, it looked like when I first unpacked it with the NATO on, I was like, oh, like this looks really small, because the NATO was like so chunky, it just like almost overpowered the watch. And I
Really?
find this just kind of fits it better.
Looks
And
right.
it's kind of, it hides the links, which is kind of nice. Sorry, my phone's going off in the background there. And yeah,
For
it's
fuck's
cool.
sakes. This
I
is a
know.
professional podcast.
This is none of that shit.
How am I supposed to listen to your goddamn loom?
You know Steve's been threatening to quit for weeks over this, Peter. How could you let it happen again?
That's right. All these kickbacks have been not really worth it.
Unacceptable.
Well, I think it looks great with your mustache, especially.
Yeah, definitely rub your mustache all over it and get that loom going.
Yeah, I like what you brought up about your line of work and the NATO strap not necessarily being ideal for it. You know, the NATO strap has become extremely popular at the moment, and it seems like
Every douchebag.
people on the internet think it's like like the best strap for any circumstance, that would be physical in nature. But I've been quite partial to the rubber straps and rubber strap-ons, not necessarily in that order, but the G-Shock,
because of the body fluid.
Well, like I was thinking about when COVID was going on for the first, say, year and a half, wearing my G-Shock it's like the perfect watch. You come home and you just wash it in the sink when you wash your hands. Bam, clean the bacteria off. But if it wasn't NATO strap, you would not necessarily be able to do that,
No.
or you can't do that,
Can't you?
So it's interesting to see how you've modified the watch to make it more paramedic proof right out the gate.
Yeah, I tried. I think it was just a quick and easy thing to do. I mean, I used like my tutor as a NATO, and I have given my NATO a wash a few times, but my biggest concern would be something that would not be able to get washed off, kind of thing. Like a rubber strap, basically, like almost everything would come off of this, right? But a NATO could get stained by like blood or some other form of bodily fluid if it really happened to get in contact with it, right? I mean,
I'm gonna put my rubber strap on.
Yeah,
your rubber strap on.
Yeah, as Peter was talking, Steve was pulling out his recent addition for his dungeon, I think.
That's me using it as a choker.
Right.
It also has a ball gag on it.
We're learning Steve likes to use a whip as a choker and a ball gag.
I'm slapping myself. Okay. The thing that I don't love about the Velcro and the NATO is actually, well, it's not technically a NATO, but this strap is a little bit, I have too many cats in the house, and I've got cat fur that likes to collect on it, so that's a minor nuisance. Doesn't exactly fulfill a military cat owner's life experience as you'd like it, but yeah, I'm gonna switch over to the rubber.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
hairless cats are better for many reasons. One reason is they don't leave fur all over your watches.
Yeah.
No, no, my cats are great. You
These
get
are
you get Curly's mouth out of your name.
real world lessons.
Mouth out of your face.
You get those curlies out of your mouth.
Look at this.
What are you doing right
I'm putting the rubber strap on. But look at that case. Fuck. The case back keeps on going blurry. But it says MN22. You can see it about as good as it gets. Sorry to take Peter's spotlight, but yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I had the chance to wear that on the weekend actually for a little bit, and I'll tell you, it was really, really nice on the wrist.
Without the rubber strap on.
In the sense with the titanium on this too, how lightweight it is, and like it's kind of nice how it doesn't roll around. I
How do
felt
you
the
find
same.
that one? Your Medic watch, is it rolling?
No, it's nice.
That's
It's
good.
it's the titanium. It's nice and light on the wrist, which is good. I feel like it's kind of like for purpose built kind of watches. I feel the titanium is good. I don't know much about like how titanium scratches or not though, to be honest. I've never really looked into it, but like compared to stainless, do you know how it compares? Like would it be basically the same?
I would say that I've had a titanium watch for a very long time, and it's a Tissot. And I would say it tends to scratch a little bit less, but at the same time, when it does scratch, because it's like a darker kind of polish material,
Yeah.
it tends to show up a little bit more. So I'd say it doesn't scratch often, but when it does scratch, you see it. So scratch
Yeah.
and look up.
It's darker definitely than this like a stainless steel finish. Like and maybe it's just because this isn't, I don't know if yours is polished, but this one isn't. So it's it kind of looks definitely a little bit on the darker side, which is nice, but
Nice.
Love that contrasted dial, subdial. Looks so
Yeah.
good.
It's got the good panda.
and
Good panda.
Good panda, as opposed to
Oh,
how do
the
you like the rubber strap compared to your NATO strap?
do I wear it like a NATO? No, that looks like a fucking bow ribbon.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, you don't.
Guinness is kicking in. All right, let's jump to the watch news while I stop fucking around with my shit. So let's talk about something that I feel like it should be sort of up the Carsiglieri's alley. And by Carsiglieri, I mean Daniel. But I'm going to try to share my screen and not create breakout rooms. Here we go. Got the Safari 190th Anniversary Longines Master Collection, and it looks pretty awesome. I gotta say, I think it's pretty nice and restrained. It would have been really cool to ask Chris about his thoughts about this, but I think it's a nice dress watch, and it reminds me of Baltic, kind of like what Baltic is doing in this space. And it's like really quite affordable. Seems pretty nice. Has like this it has these three different colors depending upon what metal you get in, but I think the appealing aspect is the steel. And so you've got like this silver kind of dial. The numerals, they almost look like they're like they're engraved in there. I don't know too much about it, but I think I really like the aesthetic, especially I could see Daniel on it or with it. But Daniel, go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is kind of your aesthetic.
Yeah, no, grab that strap on. I am on it. It's I like this one, although I gotta say I have two opinions on it. I don't like the gold watches. I don't like the way that they have the two-tone setup, but I'm gonna put those aside because those were ranked at like $12,000, which literally makes them in two different categories, right? Or puts them in two different categories. So you've got your stainless steel one, which is like $2,500 US, I think. And you are correct. It does have the Breguet numerals engraved into the dial. So unlike my watch, which has the applied numerals. This has kind of got that one next step beyond, and I've done this neat machining into the dial and put these beautiful numerals in place. So
Yeah, I think the steel looks so much better than the gold. I really agree, especially the yellow gold just looks, it reminds me of like a really bad two-tone watch.
yeah,
The
yeah,
rose gold is okay. It's not bad. It's definitely, I give it to the steel, which is just kind of nuts that it's like 2,500 US compared to, as you said, a 12,000 for the other golds. And the limited ones are actually the gold. You'd think that they would actually be smart about it and make the steel limited, just like, you know,
Wait,
tech does it, where it's impossible to get the steel, but oh, if you go for precious metal, then, you know, you can probably get it more attainably. The one thing I'd say that I wish that it was a little bit smaller. It's 40 millimeters, but you know, the fact that it's on a leather strap, probably it's pretty good. I mean, this is 42 on this strap, and I think it actually suits it pretty well. But I think that's partially because it's only on straps and um, it's only like it's a titanium case, right? Whereas I don't know, these are dress watches, and my dress watches I tend to like it a little less than 40. That's me.
yeah, I agree, but I think it's okay as well. I in the way that they've polished the case, to me, it looks like it'll probably wear smaller on the wrist than maybe I measures.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I wouldn't get too hung up on it being 40 millimeters versus 39 or 38 mils necessarily. Where I would get hung up on it though is if you did want to go for the precious metal route and you did decide that you wanted to spend $12,000 on a watch, you would have to come to terms with it having a modified ETA movement rather than an in-house movement from another brand. So, you know, you do, but at a trade-off,
Yeah.
you know, so if the precious metal is what's most important to you, then this would be an affordable, probably a more affordable way to enter a precious metal, enter the precious metal segment. But if you want to just to thoroughly like a thoroughbred watch, you don't really get that with this. So at 2,500 bucks, it's not such a problem because the way that Longines then goes ahead and refines the movement and finishes it gives you that kind of value at that price point where you're not too worried about it being an aftermarket or a third party movement. And I think if I may say, like it looks beautiful, you
Yeah,
know,
I'm blown away that the open case back with a modified ETA movement looks this good at this price point. I
yeah,
mean,
it
as
looks
you said,
great.
it's not the most beautiful movement. It's definitely not a Longines, but it's pretty damn good. I think it's punching above its weight for sure. And I think that they're coming for
Totally.
Baltic. I think that they really targeted Baltic with this. That's my thought.
Hmm. Um,
Would you rock
and
this?
also, like you mentioned, Langensson, and you have to spend $100,000 or more to get that level of finishing, just like with Patek on that level of finishing. So that really makes this look like a bargain.
Mhm.
This looks beautiful. Perhaps the colors involved give it more of an industrial feel than something by Langa or Patek, which may be more, appears more like artistry driven, where this is mechanic driven, and then they do their best to make it artistic in appearance.
Yeah.
But I don't know, contrasting dial with the blue hands, beautiful.
Peter, what do you think? Would you rock
I
this?
think it's cool. Yeah, I think like for a dress watch, like I think it's interesting. Price point is definitely like it's like pretty reasonable. I mean, I think it was 23 or 2,600 USD. Like that's pretty good for most luxury entry level watches, you could say, especially like Longines. I have always liked them. Like I've never personally like considered acquiring any, but I think they like represent a lot of cool stuff and they make some cool pieces. I do like this how it has the touch of blue on it. I think it's kind of cool. Definitely overall the steel definitely does it for me though. The rose gold's cool, but the yellow gold just I don't know. I think it just doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
It's not very pretty, but yeah, I think it's really cool how the numbers are engraved in the dial there. It looks for just kind of a more interesting finish. It's not something that you would kind of see as often. It kind of gives it more of like a vintagey kind of vibe to it, or a little bit more like a handmade kind of piece. But yeah, I like it overall. I don't know if it would be like something I would like straight like add to my collection, but I think it's cool for the price point, and I think anyone who does, I think it would be like a good buy. But yeah, it's cool.
The yeah, the blued hands do remind me a little bit of, I was just wearing the Santos Cartier today, and it reminds me a little bit of that element. But yeah, it almost makes me cringe to think like there's such a big price difference between my Santos and this. And I'd take the Santos all day long. I totally recognize that they're in different leagues, but this is really punching above its weight class for sure. And I'd say that it's the first Longines that's caught my eye where I've thought, you know what, I could see myself with that. I don't think I would. I think I'd rather have a Grand Seiko. If I wanted something like this, I'd probably go Grand Seiko with the hand wound, was it the SBG W231 that we were talking about? I think that's still on my bucket list. I gotta have it at some point in my life.
But that's still what, twice the price of this,
It
right?
is. That's the thing. Is it? I think it's around 4,500 or so. I mean, this is US, right? So we're talking not as large a delta, but that's even closer in price point. So I'd still take the Cartier over all three of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I did.
Yeah. Cartier would be my pick as well. But if that was not on the table, this is a watch I would consider. I like the way that it's got that timeless timepiece style where it's gonna break time. It's nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's move
And
forward.
Longines got a great history.
It does.
Like I said, 990th anniversary, and they are the company with the longest running unchanged logo, right? And
I didn't know that.
what's interesting, actually, now that I think about this a little more, is that rather than celebrate that logo on the dial, they didn't, but they engraved it into the back of the watch, and you have this nice little tribute to its logo on the back while maintaining a basically crisp traditional dial.
You're crisp. Let's jump to hard news. BMW M2. How much does this look awful to you? Or am I?
That's crisp, man.
Crisp?
Nah, it's crisp.
It's crisp like a bar of soap, I would say. It's crisp.
Weird.
I
It's
feel
like
like BMW is really losing their way. I don't know what the hell they were
Yeah,
thinking.
what are they doing? It's the complete opposite direction than like what they've been going the last. The grills have been getting bigger, and then they just top on like a
Well, that's
complete.
actually the one thing that they didn't make a major mistake on is the grill.
It looks
It's
terrible.
not the size of the M4. It's
I
apparently
want
gonna
it
make.
exactly like that.
Sorry?
I want it exactly like that.
Like this with
What?
the
Yeah,
camouflage on
exactly.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's like an art. It looks like an art car. It's
I think
wicked.
it definitely camouflages out the ugly lines, I would say. I don't know, man.
Hilarious.
It is impressive it's putting out 450 horsepower out of
Wow.
a twin turbo 3 liter. And
A lot.
I mean, I hope that they're gonna maintain the manual and that they maintain the rear wheel drive. I mean, they've been talking about all M cars potentially having all wheel drive variants, but honestly, this just doesn't make me go nuts. I think that the high watermark point was the 1M and the The M2 CS was quite good, but I don't know. Does this do anything for you guys? It's not doing anything for me.
No.
I've moved
Oh,
on.
I don't know. You guys are fucked. This does a lot for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners and the internet for cursing. I don't know. What's wrong with you guys? Smaller than the M3. It's got 450 horsepower. BMW. It's not to like.
Are you
The kidney
seeing
grills
this
look
under the
more
camouflage?
like
The
older kidney
engine
grills.
is cool. Like
You
the
know?
horsepower
Yeah.
output is definitely like something to be, I think, kind of like wow about. But I don't know, man. Like it just like styling wise, it doesn't do it for me. I've never like been a huge BMW guy. Like I like it, but like it's never been like my 100% top choice kind of thing. But I don't
What's your
know.
problem right there?
Yeah, that's well. I'm just being honest. I'm just telling you. Like it's not.
Have you seen the
It-
back end of this thing? The fuck is this?
I gotta wait to see it uncovered because right now
I don't know. It's camoed.
Hey, have you
Like-
not seen the photos of it? Like there have been Photoshop photos of it where they've like removed the camo, and it really it hurts. It hurts a lot.
It's gonna look better than that.
Will it? Will
I
it?
hope it does. I really hope it does.
There's always something lost in those conversions. And they end up looking more like a video game card.
Okay, I
Sounds
feel like you haven't
yeah.
seen these ones. So we've shown the official camo photos, but just under your butt and get ready for another strap-on moment here. This is what the leaked photo is. Now keep on telling me that this looks wonderful. And don't shit yourself.
So
Does that not look fucky?
I want to say first of
Look at
all,
this. Look at this.
say
Have you
it
seen a
looks
worse
wonderful.
rear end? This is
That
a
is
bumper.
freaking weird.
It's fucked. That's fucked.
That's weird.
Get the fuck out of here and try to back that one up.
I said it's weird.
Don't back that one up on me.
I'll
that in my
back
garage.
up onto that strap on, baby. Yeah. I don't know. I want to hear about what the handling dynamics are like and driving dynamics when it comes out, because that kind of trumps most in my mind. Although if it really is like that, then I would
A
struggle.
bar of soap meets a shoebox.
Kind of reminds me of like one of those Scion TC cars.
Ions look better than this fucking thing.
Yeah, it honestly does. Yeah.
I swear to
I
God, the
should-
taillights are further out than the bumper is here. What the shit happened? How
really
did this come
boxy
through
look.
quality control?
I don't know.
This is the best photo, is the engine bay. Don't get me wrong, this could potentially be impressive from an imaging perspective, but ugh.
If it turns out to be
Better
like one of the best driving BMWs of all time, that would be so disappointing.
If it was, then I could probably forgive a lot, but I mean, I don't know what the fuck is going on with their styling department. The
It's
last
okay.
well-styled car was like the M5 CSL, I think, and that's about it. Or no, not even CSL, it's a CS, right? They didn't make a-
Hopefully someone like Diamond will just decide to buy certain parts of the body on it for you, you know? And then it'll be perfect.
It'd be
This
cool.
looks like one of those body kits that like a Fiero used to like become a Lamborghini that became a fucking ogre. I don't know what the hell is this.
Now it's collecting tolls at the bridge.
This is like Star Wars 18 variant 5 of some spin-off show that nobody was even awake on. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
There's
This
something
is
Star
hard
Wars
hate
that-
on the styling.
It's not
Yeah.
I
good.
recognize it's superficial, but this is just awful.
Yeah. No,
I'm not putting
I
up
would
with
agree
this.
with that opinion. If we could go back to the camouflage ones, I like those a lot.
If they could fully just cover it up for me to never see it again, that would be okay.
You know,
Camo's really cool.
Mercedes is making some amazing cars right now. BMW's got some serious, like I love BMW, you know, but Even Audi, they're making some amazing cars. There's other companies out there making amazing cars. So it's tough. My love affair with BMW runs deep, but it really lies in the 90s and 2000s models, really,
The affair is over.
and 80s.
The affair is well over for me.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
sad day.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, this is another kind of like, is it a sad day or is it a good day? I'm not so sure. The new C63 AMG Mercedes, it's got a hybrid, and we all knew this was coming. It looks good, but I'm not sure, man. It's a hybrid. It's putting out 670 horsepower, really impressive performance, but you're losing the V8.
But it's like 750 torque.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
think
cool. Would I
Insane.
want it though?
Yeah.
You know, it's 2-liter inline four hybrid. I mean, the 296 took me forever to get around and be like, okay, I feel like, especially after being at Formula One, I'm like, okay, I can embrace this. It's got a lot of that technology in it. But now we're going down to four cylinder, and I get that that's more aligned with the actual Formula One technology, which is interesting and cool. And it's kind of nice that it's at an entry level point. And God, it's like putting out performance that's like at my GT2 level. But I don't know, man. I feel like I'd go for the V8 if I were given the choice. I'd go for the last generation. But what would you guys go for? Would you go for the brand new Formula One technology that destroys 60 and 3.3? Or would you stick with a regular C63 V8? I mean, 0 to 60 and 3.3. I mean, I can still do that with a 700 horsepower turbo 6, but that costs
Yeah.
more than a C63.
I I'm torn. Like, I'm gonna continue by saying that my dream of an ideal car is some kind of hybrid sports car. I like the idea of the hybrid setup, and you don't have to convince me of its benefits. Like, I'm already on board with the benefits. I understand that there's detrimental aspects, like the massive amounts of added weight to it. But for like this, it's not really a massive factor. It's going to be amazing to drive around town. It's going to be fun on the highways. Very few people are actually going to track these cars. So the amount of weight added I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the overall drivability and enjoyment that people get out of these vehicles. So to me, if it had a V8, yes, that's what I would want, is the hybrid V8. That's my dream,
That's a 918.
not a hybrid four
That's how I want my Porsche hypercar.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? So I'm just like, this is cool. Yes. And I like what they're doing, and I think it's insane the statistics that they've managed to extract out of a vehicle like this now. And I like that it's not in a fully electric vehicle. You know, we can debate about or disagree with the company and say you should have put a V8 in there instead of a four-cylinder, but I'm extremely grateful that what they've done is they've given us an awesome combustion engine vehicle that will also give you some electric only range, and it's not a fully electric vehicle. They're taking over.
Just
They're
done it
very
in a different model. They
Yeah.
created a separate model from a C63. Like, this is their flagship. It would have been actually cool as like a roadster. The 296 is a small, compact. It's a sleek sports car. I feel like that would be best suited if they were gonna say, look, we took all our Formula One technology and we put it into this car, and it was a new model that they created. That would be kind of cool. It's just the same way I feel about the 296. Is that the replacement for the F8? I don't know. It's a cool car onto itself, but I'd really like to see a successor of the F8 that, still retained some of that DNA. I feel like these are different cars. They're just so much of a change. It would be kind of nice to have a cool roadster that Mercedes just did, like a mini 296, and they made it feel like this is a Formula One experience. But that's my view.
Well, what I would maybe add though, or ask to take into consideration is the way that a vehicle like this is used versus the other vehicles you're talking about. Like, all of the people who buy these cars buy them to daily drive them and to drive them as commuting vehicles. Some of those people may take them to the track. Almost none of them do. So, I think that giving people a vehicle that is much better on fuel consumption and is putting a foot into the future with hybridization also gives them a 4-cylinder rather than a V8. It maybe helps people feel better about driving these cars, and coming to terms with the potential, like the modern climate. So if it was going to be an occasional use vehicle, I don't think there's any concern with driving a V8 or a V12 or whatever, right? But if it's going to be a daily driver and commuting vehicle, maybe there has to be some degree of responsibility involved where I don't want you to go full electric because I think that's freaking boring. But, this allows you to drive to work in your AMG and, destroy the environment a little bit less than in the last generation.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But you're much more progressive. I'm an elderly man. Peter is
You need to work on your neuroplasticity, bro.
no. I'm a dinosaur. Peter, you're the future. What do you say? Are you a V8
I
enthusiast
I
or
have like
a hybrid boy?
I'm in the I would say I'm like kind of torn by this because I there's aspects of both things that I kind of see in both things I like. Like I agree in some senses that I'm really happy. Like Daniel kind of pointed out that it's not just full electric, just because I think that kind of ruins it. It's not understandable that things are maybe going that way one day, but it's nice that they kept some things true, kind of thing. But overall, I kind of have a hard time seeing this cars not being the big V8 in a sense. It's just kind of when I always thought about it, that's kind of what I think about it as. But I see where the future is going and things like that. So I'm really I'm kind of torn on the topic because there's both sides. I don't really know what I would rather have, to be honest, because it's I think maybe the way things would be going, you would maybe want the V8 just because at some point you're obviously not going to be able to get them anymore. So that kind of could be additional that. But if you want the new technology with it, I think it's cool what they're doing with it. And again, I think it's just kind of nice that there is still part of that engine in there that is not all just completely electric, because that kind of just throws a curveball. And if they were going to do that, they really need to just make a separate model, still have your C63, but have it maybe your C63E or whatever the heck they want to call it, right? But just have something like a full separate one, and still keep part of it kind of tried and true. But yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a hard thing to decide. If I was put to it, I probably would go with the V8, but I've never honestly I've never driven one, so again it'd be kind of if you'd have to just see what they're both like. But I think it'd be just kind of cool with the future going forward. I don't know, I'm honestly torn. I really don't know. It's a hard thing to answer because there's aspects both of it. It's hard to say. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I could talk about it for a while, kind of thing, about how it could be good or bad, but I really don't know. Either or, I think there's kind of aspects to both of them that'd be beneficial. But for a daily driver aspect, you probably would want more of the hybrid, but if you're doing it or you're only using this car on like maybe more special occasions, then I could see the V8 being more preferable. Maybe that's how I'll kind of say it, but
Let's stop dwelling on things that don't make me at all excited about the future. Let's talk about things
All
that are
right.
kind of interesting. Here's one that's like, I think potentially in line with my enthusiasm that I had for the GR Corolla. I know nothing about this, but this image just looks so damn cool. It's like hinted on their social media platform, the Nissan Nismo GT4. I have no idea if this is just race performance, kind of like specific track only, but I have a feeling this is a potential production, and it's supposed to be revealed on September 28th at 8 a.m. local time, whatever the fuck that local time is. I assume probably Japanese, considering the image it has Japanese characters to it. But it looks so cool. It's so retro, like the original Z. And I know that the new Z has like done nothing for me up until recently, and like literally just until I saw this GT4. But it totally reminds me of the original, especially that back kind of quarter that you see with the little ducktail. Um, I don't know. I think it just looks really good in this configuration with these graphics. I have no idea about anything about it, but I assume it will just be a track focused GT version of the Z car. So I'm kind of excited. This is the first time I've ever been excited about a Nissan that wasn't an R34 GTR. Or maybe when the R35 came out, I was kind of excited, but that was a long, long time ago. Yeah, what do you guys think? Could you ever see yourselves in a Nissan? We
it's
totally
cool.
didn't even talk about the Z before.
Daniel's
Daniel's just gonna take a shit on me
no.
immediately. Go
Shit
ahead.
on.
Shit on that one.
For Daniel.
Come on, use your words. Don't it's a fucking podcast, man. It doesn't come across quite as well as Loom.
I know it's tough to let you know that I have absolutely no interest in Nissan products. So it was difficult for me to portray that
Have you seen the
with
fucking
words.
BMW M2 images? And then you look at this and you're like, well, that one was ugly. This one, I mean, at least this little sliver of a hint of it looks pretty damn cool.
That's
Not?
that's not logical by any standard.
What?
Hey, just because you thought that car was ugly doesn't mean that even if you think this car is ugly, that you can't like it.
It's called lowered expectations. Once my standards have been lowered to a bar of soap, it's like, "Oh, look at this. This is a pretty well manicured piece of soap. This is like, this is good shit."
You know, you know how I feel about Nissan is like part of me wants to like it or like them as a company, but almost all of me doesn't. And yeah, but I'll just say one thing that's complimentary and I'll move on. Where it's like, if it's gonna be great, I'll say two things. If it turns out to be great, cool, it'll pique my interest. But I'm gonna hold my breath for now. And then, sorry, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. And then you commented on the duckbill kind of spoiler on it. The front end of it is very, like, to me, looks identical to the, not identical, but very close to the original. So the front overhang, just in front of the headlights, that's very old school Z. And yeah, there's some cool design cues to it. But other than the Skylines, I've never really been a Nissan guy because I just think they make crap cars. So
Because you're a fair. Well, fuck you. I'm gonna call up the Nissan
I'll
dealer.
pass it back to you guys.
I'm
This seems
calling
to
up
be
the
more
Nissan dealer.
enthusiastic.
I'm gonna ask them for an allocation, just for maybe a preempting of the September 28th, just to see. I don't know. It's pretty interesting to me. I think it has potential. Potential. I think that's the exact same way I feel about this. It's almost exactly the same way I feel about this, and that one requires much less commitment, whereas this one is a big boy commitment that will be required if I end up going in for it. So literally last episode, I was like, I guess I'm done with Lamborghini, never gonna happen. But then I started seeing the Storado hints, and there's another new teaser on the Lamborghini Huracan Storado, which is supposed to be the very last of the Huracans that will be still maintaining the V10s before it goes hybrid as well. And as we had talked about, the STO, I was not offered an allocation for, but apparently they're taking requests for the Storado, and apparently there hasn't been a huge amount of demand because I think that a lot of people didn't think that this was coming, but it's kind of like a, I guess, a rally version of it, so it's a little bit raised, and it's got like a light bar, and it's got like a bit of a widening of the fenders. It looks kind of interesting. Do I know for sure that it's for me? I don't know. I feel like if it gets breathed on, that 5.2 V10 gets more performance, or it gets something that's really a high watermark in the Huracan, then I'll be compelled to go for it. I mean, I put in a refundable deposit for it. I'm like 20% for, 80% we see. But I feel like, after missing the boat on the STO, I had to at least see what comes of it, and it looks kind of cool to me. It looks like Mad Max is basically what it is, and I think that's really what Porsche is going with their Dakar car. And it's not an SUV. It'd be kind of a cool car, but I do expect it's probably gonna be all-wheel drive, which is like, I'd rather have it rear-wheel drive. So I don't know. I'm vacillating on it, but I figured I'd try and I'd see, put my money where my mouth is, and I can always pull it back because it's refundable.
Just to interject with a question there, since you mentioned all-wheel drive, potential complication. Did you look at the Technica?
Yeah, that's gone too. Every single V10 is done. The Technica would have been like I was between, should I go Technica or should I go to STO? Because I actually think the Technica looks the best, but they got overwhelming amounts of deposits where they just immediately closed it off, and that's actually what closed off all V10s except for
Oh
the
wow.
Storado. And then they said, okay, the last of it is going to be the Storado. So I don't know. Why would you go out with a whimper, right? That's my thought. They've got to make it special. To me, I would have thought that they would end with the STO, but they've actually gone in an opposite direction. They've started with the STO, then they went with the more restrained Technica, which is like without all the aero, but it's almost an STO. And then it was just like the equivalent of like going from a GT3 to a GT3 Touring. And then they've gone Storado, which is like, is that going to be like the Dakar 911? Or are they going to go just fucking nuts and make this a 959? You know? I hope that they make it a fucking nuts 959 and they turn up the wick on it and make it an extra 50 horsepower. And it's an animal and it looks fucking amazing. That's what I hope. Although I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting this is most likely a body kit raised, and that's about it. And no doubt if anybody ever hears this description, and if I get serious, they'll probably be like, fuck you, allocation pulled. But we'll see. I mean, this is just my speculation, but it could be potentially interesting. I just feel like this is the one time I can get in on a closing chapter before it's all gone, right? Like the V12's done. V10, after this, it's done. So I don't know. I just don't want to miss out. I'm gonna have major FOMO if this turns out to be a fucking nuts car. But I expect that it's probably gonna be another variant.
Mm.
For those on the podcast, that is Daniel,
Mhm.
a bit of a constipation, not unlike the Guinness, where he's not so sure how it's gonna come out. He might shit on it. He might go for it. He might
Mm.
be a fucking idiot. And I should
Mm.
stop trying to do things all at once.
Mhm.
Interpreting Daniel's.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I want to hear Peter's opinion on this because I know he loves these Lambos.
Yeah, I'll chime in, but I don't know, like I I don't know. It's kind of like I think it's cool. I hope like it's like really like exceptional kind of thing if this is the last V10 like Lamborghini, because I think it's just got to be like out of this world kind of thing. Like, it's got to be something that kind of like sets it off. I don't like. I said it like kind of when I originally saw it. I don't know if like it 100% does it for me. I feel like it just kind of. It's just kind of like it's just different, right? Like it's not what you would expect or not what your like normal Lamborghini is. It
It
just kind of
literally
looks
says
like,
unexpected on it. On the
yeah.
combo.
Like so, I don't know. Like once we see some photos of it like not as the test car, maybe it will kind of throw me a little bit better. But I don't like right now. It doesn't like jump. It does not nearly look as good to me or like jump out at me like the STO did. Like the STO, which is like wow kind of thing. Like this is really cool looking, but I just don't. Yeah, it's one of the things. Just it's not like a wow factor kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
when I saw it, I was like, shit, that's super cool. It's just kind of something that like maybe it will turn out to be like look really good, but I don't know. Yeah, that's really all I can kind of say about it at the
To
moment.
me,
What are your
aesthetically, it's not. It's totally fine. Like they don't have to do anything more aesthetically. It's mainly the performance. That's what matters to me the most. This is the inverse of the M2. The M2 is like, oh, that's kind of interesting performance, but like it's just a non-starter because it's ugly as fuck. But this one is like it passes the bar, and it's kind of cool because they've got like tacked on wheel flares. That's okay. That I think that's all doable. In fact, it's probably more livable than the STO's styling. But the main thing is going to be how does it perform? Does it have more power? Is it more raw? Is it crazy? Is it just like somebody fully went to marketing and all the suits and said, "Fuck you, I'm just gonna make this car the dream car." I don't think that's going to be the case. But if it were that case, then I would fully double down on this one. I just don't expect that that's going to be the case. Daniel, did you figure out your constipation?
Yeah, totally. I feel better now. Thank you.
That
The
end? Good?
the no, no, that's all right. Thank you. I'll ask you for your help with that later though. Um yeah, I think this is a very cool concept. I I like the idea a lot. You know, I kind of been throwing this idea around in my head where it's almost like this vehicle was developed for the to be marketed towards the Urus owner, you know, where it's like, you know, Lamborghini sells twice, like what, let the Urus 2 to 1 over every other model that they make. And, you know, maybe this is a way to get the SUV owners into their sports cars as well. Because in theory, if it's all wheel drive and it's lifted a bit, gives you a little bit more, not off-road, maybe off-road capability as they seem to be advertising it, but you know, maybe a little bit more confidence in different weather conditions.
That's what
And then
concerns
the other
me.
side is it could be completely marketed to people who live in a more desert environment and would take it out on maybe salt lakes or other things like that.
But that concerns me. Like, if is this just a mini Urus? That's not me, man. I don't
Oh
want
man,
Urus.
it's not a mini Urus. It's got their V10 in it. It doesn't have
Yeah.
a Porsche V8.
If I'm gonna go
Like
SUV exotic, then I'd rather have the Pure Sang.
I mean, you're still gonna have what 650 horsepower V10
Yeah.
that's naturally aspirated. It's you know how much more power do they need to extract from that? You know, I know
I
that.
just want it straight piped and raw as shit, and then I'm in. You know?
Just fucking-
If that's the way it comes from the factory, if it's just like somebody went fucking bonkers, and
Yeah,
then I'm in. But I don't think that's likely the case. I feel like this is a very calculated decision that, as you said, is probably like there's some room in between, right? There's the Urus guys, and then there's the guys who want a Lamborghini to look like a Lamborghini, but be like a Urus. And I bet you that's what this is. But I would be sad if that's the way they ended it, right? It's just like, is that the way it goes out? That's not the way I envisioned it, right? It's like
I don't know. Kind of looks weird with roof racks on it, though.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown it without the roof rack, but this one is with the roof rack.
I
I
would
didn't get it with the
do
roof
that
rack.
option.
I like the little light things. That's cool.
They're cool, yeah.
I like the little wheel flares. I don't love that it's super lifted. I don't know. It's looking like it's primarily after the Safari kind of thing, like the Dakar, which is
Mhm.
okay in its own, but I just want something that's just nuts if I'm gonna do it. And I don't
Yeah,
think that it's likely to be that. But
yeah. Well, it's a sad day.
nobody
Sad day.
knows. We don't know. We don't know. It's all good.
We don't know.
Nice to have
So,
doors open. Maybe
Yeah.
there's an interesting Nissan. Maybe there's an interesting last Lamborghini. Maybe I have two G-Wagons. I don't know. Maybe maybe something's gonna happen that's gonna be really crazy down the line where I get a 40997 RS. Maybe I get the next hypercar Porsche. There's just so many permutations. It's nice to have this ridiculous privilege. And Peter and I just went to the track and just like Chris Harris the fuck out of the track where I finally learned that car and grew a pair and just had it sliding around every goddamn corner. And it was just the best driving experience I've ever had. We had 2 solid laps where everything came together, where I stopped worrying about dying, and I just learned that it will play with you on that edge, but you have to really respect it and not be stupid.
mhm.
Yeah. I had a few butt puckering moments, but this one, the perfect amount of pucker, just like nice and lubed. Nice and
Nice and raw,
no.
unprotected. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And we
It
were
was
following behind that ZR1. The
Mhm.
exclusive time zone guys were driving the ZR1 manual, which was blowing my mind that he was driving it like as fast as I was driving the GT2.
he
I
was
don't know if
fine.
I'd have the balls to do that, but we were driving behind the pro racer in front of us, and it was crazy. All three of us just going the full racetrack, full balls to the wall. At least for me, it was balls to the wall. For the race car driver, this was probably like 7/10 for him, but and he was in a Camaro ZL1 at 1LE. And
Mm,
then that made me think, why do I pine for all these other things when I'm so fortunate? And I also have a $10,000 bill to fucking bring the 430 up to track level now. I got to do the ball joints and the brakes.
well, at the end of the day,
Aficionados.
you have a
Yeah.
430 and not a Camaro.
Yeah. It's gonna be expensive, but it'll be worth it. I kind of
Yep.
have that vision in the future of when I put in that money and I get the ball joints done and I get the brakes right, that thing's gonna be an animal on the track. It's just gonna like sing like it does on the road. But I have noticed that it's been kind of slumping a little bit lately. But the GT2 was definitely no slump. It was
No.
sliding all around.
Monster.
We got to post that video up, Peter.
Yeah,
100%.
Like every
totally.
single turn, you can hear the tires just chirping. You can't appreciate the sliding, but it was just like right on that limit where it was just like having the perfect amount of slide. It wasn't like crazy, burnouts or drifts, but it was just like we were one with the car for those laps.
Mhm.
And
Awesome.
Peter is very sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple corners when we came out where it was like you could just feel the car, right? Just a little, like you were like in the whole turn, just kind of like little slide kind of thing, just minor power slide. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's the way you want to drive that car. You don't want to drive it with a big slide.
No,
It's
God,
like
no.
you fucked up.
You fucked up, buddy. You're not supposed to be doing this.
But when you look at the Strato, you're like, why? You got a GT2 that's 700 horsepower and it's rear wheel drive, and it doesn't get a lot better than that.
No,
Unless it's a
no.
918, then it gets better than that. I'll take that.
Well, it's debatable if there is a better sports car than a 911. 911 people will already tell you that doesn't exist, So,
It
and a
does.
lot of people strive for a career ass. So, The GT2 RS is just like that insane beast. Just like you, troll collecting the tolls under the bridge.
What? The troll.
We were talking about that earlier. Troll toll.
What the fuck? When were we talking about this?
We
Oh,
definitely
man. You gotta stop smoking
When
so
you were
much
having
weed.
like an LSD trip?
Fuck.
Get fucked.
You remember an entire medical textbook, but can't remember something that happened 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Do we have other car news to talk about? I saw
fuck
like a
that. We've
Toyota
talked
Avalon or
enough.
something.
You don't need to hear my.
That seemed really cool.
And that's
You
it.
have
That's
car
all.
news? Are you getting a car? You gonna get me a car?
No.
This weekend I'm getting a G-Wagon. That's the car news.
Oh, well, I mean, that's pretty exciting.
And it has
Maybe that's news for our next episode.
it has the stealth package, and
Hey.
it is triple murdered out. Everything is black. The grill, the emblems. Yeah. It's
So
like a
sick.
racist car. I feel like it's very racist. It's just too much.
Some murder.
Too blacked out.
It's like, you take like that stereotypical rapper car. This is like more stereotypical than stereotypical.
Like it's got spinners on it.
Almost. No,
Yeah.
it's got the good wheels. It's got the good wheels. We'll have to
And at least it's not an H2 Hummer.
We'll have to do an episode inside of it.
Hummer. Yeah. Yeah, you should stream from inside of it next time.
That'd be fun.
It'll be even choppier than this.
Yeah.
Audience will love that. Sorry, Chris.
No, they love the G-Wagons.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys. Buddy.
Night.
Hey,
Thanks
one
for
of you
tuning in.
guys.
Hey. Thanks for tuning in for another 3 Aficionados. Let's sign out. Leave
Thanks,
it there. Too many cars to talk about. Next time, Peter's going to show us his loom. Only by audio.
Loom.
Full loom. We're going to dual loom. We're going to like loom it off.
You can hear the loom.
You can hear it. It's humming. Humming
That's
in
radioactive loom for Chris.
Yeah, actually that's tritium.
Yeah, that's the Chernobyl watch.
Blow your wrists off. Peace.